is Tristan Pattas, the CEO of First Development Resources. Tristan, good to be speaking to you. Where are you calling from? It looks nice.
Yeah, Mark, it's great to be speaking with you. I'm actually dialing in from Kings Park in Perth today.
Okay. I know you've been on site for quite a while and want to catch up, of course, on the news from Wallal. So I'll start with your quote where you say the abandonment is a bitterly disappointing end to what has been a very challenging maiden drilling campaign at our Wallal project. So I wonder if you can perhaps just talk us through that. That's quite sort of strong emotive language there.
It is, but I appreciate it can come across as emotive language, but essentially after all the effort that went in to get that hole, to a point where we could start drilling, and then to make it so far down towards the basement, to end at 917.8 metres, was really disappointing, quite simply because we believed we were so close to intersecting the basement.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, the RNS went into some more detail. You talked about the deteriorating downhole conditions to the base of the Canning Basin sedimentary sequence. The drill hole could not be advanced to that planned depth of 1,220 metres, and the decision was made to cease drilling. So you stopped it's about 300 metres short, I think, isn't it? 918 metres. So does that sort of 300 make all the difference in this case?
Well, it certainly would have done, we believe, Mark. Essentially, the situation that we found ourselves in was that nobody has ever drilled in this part of the Canning Basin before. So we effectively were the first company to go out and test, not only try to test the basement and the targets which we've established, but also get an understanding of the geology from surface and the basin fill, which effectively blankets the basement rocks, which we believe hosts those magnetic bullseye anomalies. Now, when we set off, we were hoping that the basement would come in at around 800 metres. We got down to 917.8 metres, and unfortunately we didn't intersect the basement. But as I say, the geology which we did encounter suggested that we were very close. So, yeah, again, disappointing to not make it to basement, of course. But unfortunately, as the announcement suggested, the downhole conditions meant that the hole had deteriorated to a point at which it was quite simply impossible to push it on any further.
Okay, and when you say the hole is deteriorating, what does that mean? Does that mean that it sort of starts collapsing in on itself due to the poor conditions?
Essentially, Mark, that's exactly what happened. You know, when you break the core off at depth, you have to pull the drill string slightly off the bottom. And what we found was that the side walls of the drill hole were coming in. And then once we tried to go back down to bottom again on multiple occasions, we were unable to clear the debris at the bottom of the hole, and therefore we were unable to advance it. It was unfortunately just a very challenging drilling environment. But I must stress that what we have learned from the process is hugely beneficial when if we do decide to come back to Wallal, which we do hope to. That target remains fully intact, and we want to test it.
Okay, well that's good. You've learned some things. What are the key things that you've learned then to come back from? I guess to do with the drilling technique, I suppose.
Look, absolutely. When it comes to drilling deep drill holes, understanding the various the strata from surface all the way to the bottom is hugely important, as that really does influence the downhole or the drill design, how you approach the drilling. And so knowing where the more competent layers of rock sit in the sedimentary overburden, knowing how deep we have to get down to in order to hit the basement will allow us to approach it in a slightly different way. But again, we went first. We were the first people to test this part of the world. So someone's always got to go first. And in this instance, it was FDR. But I'm confident that if we come back, we'll approach it in a slightly different way and hopefully have a bit more success.
Okay. And just finally on this point, so the basement that you refer to, is that where your mag anomaly was indicating there's something of interest?
Absolutely. So, I mean, one thing we did get from our geological observations and the testing of the core that we did whilst we were logging, it suggested that there was no magnetic material that sat in the sedimentary cover, which does suggest that the geophysical model which puts the target into the proterozoic basement is correct in that regard. So therefore, we need to intersect that basement geology in order to test the target.
Yeah. Okay, so you could have come tantalisingly close, really. You will never know on this hole.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I mean, and I believe we did come tantalisingly close. Okay.
And just finally, sorry, on this point, can you do any more with that hole? Can you do downhole EM, or is it a write-off?
No, the risk of sending anything down that hole in the state it was in was far too great. We always have to work within the constraints of our budget, Mark. And but as I say, what we have learned is if we did decide to come back to Wallal on say the border anomaly, we would know how to approach the hole in a slightly different way, and again, try to get the maximum output from the investment.
Okay, good. Well, you said there that you'd hope to come back to it in the future, but also I know the RNS mentioned about the Selta Project in the Northern Territory. You've been working on that, developing that, and you're hoping to get some work going there on that gold potential fairly soon. Can you talk us through some of the next steps with the company? People might be thinking, oh dear, this was a one-hit wonder and it's not really hit yet. So what can we look forward to?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, the target at Wallal remains a target which needs to be tested. But as you correctly pointed out in the announcement, we did say that we will be turning our attention to Selta, and we'll be carrying out the planned work which was set out in our admission document prior to IPO, working within the constraints of the budgets which we've already established. Look, Selta is a really interesting package of ground. It's very different from Wallal insofar as at Wallal it's a very deep undercover target, whereas at Selta all of the geology is effectively at surface or just subcropping. There's a huge amount of information that we've been able to gather, or our consultants have been able to pull together, and we've established some really interesting targets, and that's everything from copper and gold through to uranium, through to rare earths, battery metals. But obviously, in the current marketplace, gold is doing really well. We really would like to turn our attention to the potential for gold at Selta, and as we put in the announcement, we will be updating the market as soon as we can as to what our plans are in that part of the world.
Okay, and I hate to push you on timelines, but could we expect to hear something this quarter?
Well, in terms of how we did say in the announcement that we would like to provide a more detailed update before the end of this month, and that's what we expect to do.
Well, Tristan Pattas, thank you very much for your time. I bet you're looking forward to getting back home, back behind the desk, and hopefully we can catch up then as your plans develop further and we can talk about Selta in a bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Looking forward to it.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.